What's up, y'all? It's your girl Stacy the Intuitive. Welcome back to my channel. We're on a walk again today. I just feel like I'm really able to have clear thoughts, like a clear channel when I'm out here. So today I wanted to come and talk to you guys about some things, and also peep the selfie stick. I'm trying to be a real YouTuber here. Sorry if I'm swatting bugs this whole video, but I really wanted to come here and talk to you guys about love and relationships, because I find myself learning a lot of monumental lessons in love and relationships right now, and I really want us all to be in our lover era, in our union era. So anything that I can provide to help you guys to get to that point and to be your healthiest self in a relationship, I'm happy to do it. So something I really wanted to talk about today is trust, which is one of the largest pillars of relationships, if not maybe maybe the biggest pillar outside of love itself. And I really wanted to talk about the experience a lot of us have of not knowing how to trust, not knowing if we can trust, not knowing if we should trust people and things like that. Feeling really worried about another person's feelings and how they're moving, and whether or not, there's someone that you can trust, or there's someone that you can see in a light that makes you feel safe, right? And I am also sorry if it gets dark here and there, because we're using a natural lighting here. But in that path of ruminating myself and really being on guard as it relates to whether or not I can trust people in certain relationships and things like that, I recently had an epiphany, and I realized that a little bit of my trust issues and things like that come from codependency. And codependency in the form where your feelings become reliant upon how the other person feels, right? You create validity, or you create a sense of stability or trust as it relates to your own feelings based on how another person feels, such that you get so far away from your own discernment and navigational compass that you become dependent on another person, someone outside of you, in order to make those judgment calls. And I realized that this was inherently codependent because I was having this moment, as I am a young woman dating right now, I found myself constantly questioning, the object of my interest, and whether or not their interest was the same, as a means to validate whether or not I could trust myself. Until I had a moment and I was like, you know what? How am I going to get out of this state? How am I going to overcome this? Because it's not good for me, to be having this type of dependency on their feelings and their validation. And I had a moment where I literally paused and I said, well, how do you feel? Given your present moment circumstance, how do you feel? How do I feel about this person, about our circumstance, regardless of what's going on, regardless of what information I lack or have? What do I feel given all the information that I have right now? And it's like a switch flipped in that moment for me when I asked that question, right? Because the question that you're asking when you're wondering if you can trust someone or not is not if you can trust them or anything outside of you, but rather, can you trust yourself? Can you trust yourself to make the correct judgment calls? Can you trust yourself to have good discernment? Can you trust yourself and your own emotional fluctuations and the natural course of your feelings to guide you in the right direction based on what you're feeling in the situation? When we allow our own authentic and natural feelings to be our navigational compass, we should inherently feel safe in any experience that we encounter, right? Because when we learn to attune our feeling space to our intuition, to our inner guidance, what we know to be true, what we know serves us, what we know is good for us, that is when we become our greatest navigators. We become our greatest partners in this life experience. And I'm telling you, as if by magic, when I had that realization, that is when I was able to see the situation clearly. That is when I was able to get a judgment call based on my consciousness, based on how I think, how I conjure things. And it changed the circumstance entirely. Because when I was dependent on that other person's feelings, mind you, you can never be 100% certain about another person's feelings. Why? Because you can't feel it yourself. But what can you feel? Your feelings. And you can utilize those feelings that you feel to make judgment calls on your situation. And so what I'm saying all of this to say here is, do you trust yourself? Because if you do, whatever circumstance you're navigating right now, you need to ask yourself how you truly feel about it. How do you truly feel with everything going on, right? Even if the feelings that you have are seemingly contradictory to what the external reality is showing you, can you take a moment to allow those feelings that are coming up to possibly be an intuitive signal? If you're feeling like everything's gonna be fine, but you're waiting for someone else to validate that to you, ask yourself, can I just trust my instincts that everything will be fine? Because as I was navigating through like this catalytic moment, meaning that I had a moment that triggered me to ask myself this question, I had, there were energies leading up to this point where I was like, I just really feel like everything's gonna be fine. I really feel like not worried about this. I don't feel bad about this. And I didn't trust that. I was so worried. I didn't want to trust that because I was like, what if I'm wrong? But I would much rather be wrong and learn how to be right within myself than have my ability to determine right and wrong, right and wrong, right? In order to sum it up, we know nothing is truly right and wrong. But I would rather not have my ability to judge that be dependent on another person. So in saying all of this, guys, when you're navigating relationships, I want you to know that you can trust yourself, but you need to get past that fear barrier of thinking that you're gonna get it wrong, because you can't ever truly get it wrong. If you truly learn to listen to yourself, you will find out how your intuition works, how your emotional promptings work, right? Because I think that a lot of time too, we have this understanding of our feeling space that paints it as a black and white thing, or you feel good or you feel bad. But no, there are nuances, there are subtleties to be listened to. And so for me, I feel like I've just undergone an entire shift because it's changing the way I navigate entirely. I'm choosing, sorry for the plane, I'm choosing an existence where I listen to myself, my inner being, my inner promptings in order to navigate. And that brings me a sense of calm, a sense of security and safety that I otherwise would not be privy to. The thing about making your safety dependent on another person, your trust, right, your sense of security dependent on another person, is that at any point that could be pulled out from under you, right? The wool could be pulled from over your eyes. Is that the phrase? That's the worst part about that. But when you establish a stable and solid foundation that you at least say, I'm gonna listen to myself first, I'm gonna trust myself first, and I'm gonna navigate with whatever comes through. If you can let that be your foundation, you will find that you will never end up in a place that is not aligned to you. But again, when you kind of wear this false mask and you become reliant on this codependent relationship that you build with others, right? Where they become your sense of security, they become your navigational compass, they become your discernment. When you rely on other people in that way, you honestly lose this sense of self and authenticity. And it's very important to just allow yourself that opportunity to trust that your authenticity deserves to be met with acceptance, to trust that the best experience for you, guys, that kind of just threw me off. Okay, there's somebody else there too. Give me a second. I'm like, I need to recoup now. I lost my train of thought. But it's just very important to trust your own authenticity, to give space for your own authenticity, for why you interpret things the way that you do, and what it means to you, right? And how that plays out in situations around you. Because I have found that when you allow that magic of your being, the way that you perceive and the way that you feel to come through, that really miraculous and serendipitous experiences come through, right? And that's what happened to me yesterday, is where I had a moment where I just wasn't sure. I was feeling uncertain, and I really went to this internal place. And from there, I was able to find a sense of security, and my external reality aligned in a way that was very supportive to that moment. And again, that plays into your relationship with God as well. Because if you trust yourself, it gives space for you to be able to trust God and trust those messages that come through and trust your relationship with God. So guys, I just want you to be able to feel safe and comfortable in relationships I want you to be able to feel like you know yourself, right? You know what feels good, you know what feels bad. Your inner being will lead you away from situations that are bad for you. But that's only if you have space to listen. That's only if you give the space, like, for feeling like you have the capability to be correct. Because for me, I found that there were times where, you know, I didn't allow myself to, like, truly feel what was going on because my feelings were so dependent on the external or a person outside of me. So there was no space for what I felt. I didn't know what I felt. And if I had taken a moment to just be truthful with myself about what I felt, and again, it comes into that truthful aspect. Like, are you being truthful with yourself in those moments where your inner being is asking you to tell you, like, to tell yourself how you feel about something, right? Like, how do you actually feel? And a lot of the time we don't have trust for ourselves because in those moments, we're not really willing to say what we feel out of fear or whatever have you. But you need to be bold and expressive with yourself about how things make you feel, where the currents are leading you, where the tides are leading you emotionally. And once you find that peace of mind, that sense of self, that self-trust, you will find yourself able to navigate situations much better, and your relationships will be so much better because of the level of authenticity that you allow from yourself and the other person, right? You can allow their natural feeling space to have space, right? That is not being impeded upon by you, and your natural feeling space to have space that's not being impeded upon by them. And with that space, your both of your emotional states create a natural synergy, create a natural flow and harmony. And that's what we're looking for. But it really disrupts the harmony when we're looking for other people to play out the roles that we need to be playing out for ourselves, right? So with that, I'm so sorry for the distractions in this video, y'all, but I'm also very proud. There's a deer over here. Let's see if we can get her. I don't think you guys can see, but I'm very proud of myself for continuing talking despite the people going past me. Like, I'm really trying to trust myself and be bold and courageous. We got some more deers up here, so I'm gonna show you guys. But another thing, just like a sidebar, I'm trying to just, like, be comfortable in my own skin. You know, I feel like sinking into my body has really helped me to get present in moments and say to myself, like, hey, I want to, like, be myself here, right? I want to get comfortable with myself, because it's only when you are comfortable with yourself that you can find self-trust. Look at them, guys. OMG. I love it. So great. They're just frolicking. But I'm so sorry if I lost my train of thought a bit, y'all. The people going by threw me. But I hope the message still rings true, and I hope that you're able to listen with your heart and that it hits somewhere important for you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.